Hello, this is Joel again with my technical speech for business communications class. I would like to start off by asking you, how would you like to make more money and be more financially independent and stable? Imagine going to any bank or dealership and being able to walk out with a car that you like, the car of your dreams, or the amount of money that you need without, of course, having to rob the bank. I've been a loan officer for 1 year now, and I've been in finances for two. And a common question that I'm asked is, what is a credit score and why does it affect your life so much? And basically, what goes into making that score. The way I like to simplify it is to say that your credit score is just a number that shows how financially responsible you are and how likely you are to make payments. There are several factors that affect your credit score, such as your payment history, the amount of debt that you have, and even how many times you've applied for something. Even if you ended up not getting that loan or whatever it might have been, just the act of applying for it and pulling your credit does affect your credit. And that's something that most people don't understand and don't really like. But yeah, as far as that, a credit score does affect your life in many ways, of course, in the interest rates on loans that you might get, and also on if you would even get approved for that loan. And then there's also some other unexpected consequences, including like your insurance for your car, that kind of thing. Also, even getting the apartment that you want to live in, and even phone companies will sometimes use your credit score to determine their rates and things like that, and what kind of promotions you qualify for. So to begin with, I'd also like to mention that credit score and the exact information to get it is proprietary. It's owned by three major credit bureaus, which is Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. But there are some generally accepted guidelines that explain the factors in your credit and how to improve it. And today I'll be using information that I found from annualcreditreport.com, which is something that's authorized by the government to give you a credit report once a year, and that will not affect your credit by looking at it, and it's free. So yeah, and then the other information that I also received was from Intuit, which is other makers from Mint and TurboTax and QuickBooks. Kind of a lot of financial information on that. So yeah, that's it. Let's begin by covering what a credit score is and how it affects your everyday life. According to the Fair Trade Commission, credit scoring is a system that creditors use to help determine whether to give you credit, and it also may be used to decide the terms you are offered or the rate you will pay for the loan. To simplify that, a credit score again is just something that shows how reliable you are at making your payments. For example, let's say that you had a friend that came back from your past that you might have not seen for a little while, but he comes back into your life and asks for a loan. How would you handle a situation? How would you decide to give him that loan? Wouldn't it be nice if you could kind of see his history and see if he's paid back his previous loans, he's paid them back, on time, or if he's had issues with that? Would it affect you if it shows that he's paid back everything he's ever owed on time and paid it well, versus not paying it well, or maybe making his payments like slower than he should? Let's see. Well, due to this being a score of your financial responsibility, it typically affects what rates you get on loans, and that can be anything from credit cards to auto loans to mortgages. It kind of has a big blanket effect on any kind of finances that you get. And then as far as that, your credit score, of course, will determine if you get the loan to begin with. But yeah, and this is something that I'm constantly asked as a loan officer. Somebody will say, "Hey, I assure you can make the payment. It's within my budget," but then the credit score will tell me a different story. And as far as that, it's just like most things in life, actions speak louder than words, and that's something that even if they say they can pay it, if the credit score shows a difference in the story, then you have to go off of what they've shown that they do. And then see, yeah, and of course, because your credit score is based on your finances, it does affect what interest rate that you can get. So the difference between paying 1 or 2% for auto loan versus paying 15 to 20% on auto loan, and that can account to thousands of dollars a year. It's also used by different companies such as insurances to estimate how reliable you are making your payments and what rate they can offer you. Apartment buildings will oftentimes run your credit to make sure that you will follow through on a 12-month lease and make your payments every month. And credit score is used for multiple things. So it's something that ranges from 300 to 850, and I have a chart on my slides as well that shows that. And just like in grades of school, the higher your score is, the better you are. The lower, you're not as good. So since now that we know what a credit score is and how it can affect you, let's dive into the factors that affect your credit. According to Mint by Intuit, the payment history, your payment history is the biggest factor in getting in the credit score. Basically, that just means if you make your payments on time every single month, then that's going to affect your credit better than basically any other factor related to it. So again, imagine having a roommate that every month his rent payment is late. Would that be something that kind of would irritate you? Because I feel like it would. After a while, if you had the choice, you probably wouldn't remain a roommate with that person. And again, if that friend from the earlier example came back and said, hey, I'll pay it back in a month or two, or maybe 6, or at least sometime in the next year, that's a little bit more of a red flag than saying like, hey, I'll pay it back next month, full amount. And secondly, the next factor that's most often like cited as affecting your credit score is the capacity of credit that you use. That just means of what your income is. This is how much you owe. If you have like some cards that are maxed out, then that will hurt your credit score. And again, if you go back to that example with that gentleman from your past or that friend from your past, and they ask you like, hey, I need some money, and it looks like he's maxed out a few cards, would that make you less likely or more likely to lend him that money that he's asking you for? So it's all about the utilization on that. But yeah, the third factor that most commonly affects your credit is the length of credit. That just means that it looks better if somebody's been paying on an auto loan for years versus somebody who's like, hey, I made one payment last month and that's about it. We're still like, it's not sure how they're gonna do. Again, with that friend example, if he comes back and he says, hey, this is my 5th time I'm asking for money, but all the other 4 times he's paid it well, then you might be more likely to let him borrow that money. While if it's the first time he's asking for money, you might be more skeptical on doing that. But yeah, and then finally, the last things that affect your credit score are the accumulation of your debt, including your credit pulls, the amount of accounts, and different types of credit. So this one sounds like a lot, but these kind of account for the smallest portion of your credit. These are less of a factor than the other ones, and actually have a slide detailing those factors on that. But yeah, so to start off, your credit would usually be better if you only have an auto loan as payment isn't a huge part of your income, versus having several different auto loans and RVs and credit cards and everything that's using up all your monthly income. That makes it kind of tough, Then the amount of credit pulls that you have, again, if you do pull your credit often, does affect your credit score, and that's something that most people don't understand, but it will kind of hurt their credit. And if you go back to a friend example, if you find out that he's gone to every single one of your friends in the past and asked them for money, would that make you less likely to give him money or more likely? Because it sounds like, if they didn't give him the loan, or even if you're not sure if he did or not, then it sounds kind of hesitant, I'm not sure if I'd give him money. Because you kind of want to know why they denied him or whatnot. And finally, the amount of accounts and the types of those accounts will also affect your credit. That just means that it's better to diversify your credit. Having like an auto loan and a credit card and a couple things, would look better. Like in your history, would look better than just having once had like a credit card that you paid well on. But yeah, and some people argue this should be a positive for individuals because it really means that they're. But what it really means, if they don't have much credit out there, it means that they're just unknown. And yeah, but all right, now that we've covered the factors that affect your credit score, and then you have a better understanding of your personal credit and perhaps how you can improve your credit. So as far as that, to conclude, I have explained like what a credit score is and how it affects your lives, the different factors that go into your credit score. As long as you make your monthly payments, don't max out your credit cards, and have at least some things reporting on your credit to add to your history. And of course, you're keeping your credit pulls low, and you're mixing up your credit just a small amount, then you should be fine on that. Hopefully, with this knowledge, you can improve your credit and kind of avoid issues on that. I also want to remind you that according to USA.gov, you are allowed one free credit pull per year from annualcreditreport.com. Thank you so much.